neither renounce the action, nor become a materialistic person and just become engaged into fruitive activities. Both are not appropriate. So again, Krishna is going to emphasize in this chapter to Arjun that you work with aim to please Krishna, aim to please himself, Krishna. So for the satisfaction of the Lord, you should work. So if one is working for the satisfaction of the Lord, then one does have that necessary vigor. So that's why we see the great devotees like Srila Prabhupada, he also worked so hard. In fact, he worked more harder than materialistic people also for pleasure of Krishna. Because the impetus is to please Krishna. I want to do better and better for Krishna. So in this way, that vigor is there. At the same time, because he is not doing for himself, so that fruitive mentality is not there. And in this way, he is free from even reactions and he doesn't suffer the miseries of a materialistic person. So in this way, this is the balance of both these yogas. On one side, Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga. Jnana Yoga means basically renunciation and action. It is a good balance. Karma Yoga is a good balance. So in this way, Arjun is going to, in this way, Arjun is asking Krishna about this contradiction, and Krishna is going to explain how renunciation and work are not two opposite things. Don't think that work and renunciation are two opposite things. They are the same things. They could be integrated. They are not opposites. So in this way, Krishna is going to explain to Arjun the process of achieving liberation through Karma Yoga. So please recite first verse.
Himanshu Prabhu.
Arjuna Uvacha.
Arjuna Uvacha.
Sannyasam karmanam Krishna.
Sannyasam karmanam
Krishna.
Punaryogam na samsasi.
Punaryogam na samsasi.
Yashreya etoyar ekam. Tanme bruhi sunishitam. Translation. Arjuna said, "O Krishna, first of all, you asked me to renounce work, and then again you recommend work with devotion. Now, will you kindly tell me definitely which of the two is more beneficial?"
Please read purport.
Yes. Purport. In this chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that work in devotional service is better than dry mental speculation. Devotional service is easier than the latter because, being transcendental in nature, it frees one from reaction. In the second chapter, preliminary knowledge of the soul and its entanglement in the material body were explained. How to get out of this material entanglement by Buddhi Yoga or devotional service was also explained therein. In the third chapter, it was explained that a person who is situated on a platform of knowledge no longer has any duties to perform. And in the fourth chapter, the Lord told Arjuna that all kinds of sacrificial work culminate in knowledge. However, at the end of the fourth chapter, the Lord advised Arjuna to wake up and fight, being situated in perfect knowledge. Therefore, by simultaneously stressing the importance of both work in devotion and inaction in knowledge, Krishna has perplexed Arjuna and confused his determination. Arjuna understands that renunciation in knowledge involves cessation of all kinds of work performed as sense activities. But if one performs work in devotional service, then how is work stopped? In other words, he thinks that the sannyasa or renunciation in knowledge should be altogether free from all kinds of activity because work and renunciation appear to him to be incompatible. He appears not to have understand the work in full knowledge in non-reactive and is therefore the same as inaction. He inquires therefore whether he should cease work altogether or work with full knowledge.
Yeah. So we see that Arjun is appearing to have understood that if one has to be renounced, then one has to give up the work totally. If one wants to practice spirituality, then all the work should be given up. If one wants to do devotional service. But then he has not, it seems that he has not understood that work in full knowledge is not reactive. Hmm. And that's how it is as good as not working. So last section we understood that working causes reaction. So Krishna had told yajnathat karmanomyatra lokoyam karma bandhana tadartham karma kaunteya yukta sangha samachara. So work done in devotion must be performed, otherwise such work binds one to this material world. So every work gives reaction, but this concept was not so clear to Arjun yet, that if one works in knowledge or the Supreme Lord, then there is no reaction. And that's how that is as good as not working. Basically, when one works for sense gratification, it gives reaction. But when one does not work for sense gratification, when one works for Krishna's pleasure, then it is as good as not working. Like that. So, in this way, there is a confusion Arjun is stating. So, actually, it is Krishna's plan that Arjun remains confused like this because their dialogue is taking place not only for Arjun's benefit, it is majorly for our benefit. So Arjuna's perplexity gives Krishna a chance to stress further that work and renunciation are not opposed to each other, but they were, they can be integrated. So rather than giving up work, one must learn to work in a renounced spirit. One should learn to work in a renounced spirit. So Arjun thinks that jnana implies renunciation of work and knowledge and work, and that knowledge and work, like light and darkness, are contradictory. जहाँ पे लाइट हो सकता है वहाँ darkness नहीं हो सकता. Say ना, what is that? जहाँ कृष्ण तहाँ नहीं माया रहता है. What is the purpose of that? कृष्ण सूर्य सम माया है अंधकार. So when there is a darkness, there cannot be any. When there is light, there cannot be any darkness. So Arjun is thinking when there is a work, there must be reaction. If there is a devotion and knowledge, then there cannot be any work. He is thinking these two concepts are opposites, like light and darkness. They are contradictory. But Krishna, on the other hand, he emphasizes that one in knowledge should also work, because without working, one cannot even sustain. So that's what it was mentioned before also. So things have to be clarified further, and that's why Krishna is again clarifying the things further in this chapter. So this was the first section. First section was only first verse, that is Arjun's question. Sannyas or Karma Yoga are both possible together. Both appear to be contradictory. So now the second section of this chapter begins from second verse to sixth verse. Karma Yoga is equal to but easier than sannyas. Means what? One gets same result as sannyas through Karma Yoga, but advantage is that it is easier than sannyas. Okay, so please recite second verse.
Karthik Prabhu.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु. श्री भगवान उवाच
श्री भगवान उवाच
संन्यासः कर्मयोगस्य
संन्यासः कर्मयोगस्य
निश्चयस्य करावुभौ
निश्चयस्य करावुभौ
तयोस्तु कर्म संन्यासात्
तयोस्तु कर्म संन्यासात्
कर्मयोगो विशिष्यते.
कर्मयोगो विशिष्यते.
Translation: The personality of Godhead replied, The renunciation of work and work in devotion are both good for liberation. But of the two, work in devotional service is better than renunciation of work.
Yeah. So he says that both are equal only. Renunciation of work or work in devotion, both are same. Karma yoga or jnana yoga, as such, both are not contradictory. They are both same only. But karma yoga or work in devotional service is better than renunciation of work because that is more, you can say, more practical and more easier. So in the purport, Prabhupada says that as long as one is engaged in activities aimed at improving the standard of bodily comfort, one is sure to transmigrate to different types of bodies, thereby continuing material bondage perpetually. So this is typically the aim of modern civilization. Somehow or other they want to aim at improving the standards of bodily comfort. But by doing so, they are paying the price of continuing the cycle of birth and death that they are not understanding. One wants to become more and more luxurious, more and more opulent in material world at the cost of risk of taking another birth and continuing the cycle of birth, old age, disease, and death. So that's nobody's paying attention to. What about my future life? So Prabhupada quotes in this regards, Rishabdeva's teachings from the 5th canto, 5th chapter. Nunam pramatta kurute karma yadindriya printaya apronoti tasadu manve yata atmanu asanapi kleshada asadeha parabhavastavad abodha jato yavanna jitnasta, like that. So these verses Prabhupada would quote very, very often, wherein Rishabdev says that people become so mad after sense gratification, so they do not know that this present body, although it is there, only it is not going to be with for a long time. It will be finished, and then one may get into any other body, which is more and more troublesome body. So that's why, rather than acting for sense gratification and increasing the sense gratification program, one should increase the spiritual program and try to understand the human form of life, the value of human form of life. So otherwise, parabhavastavad abodha jata, such an ignorant person is sure to be defeated in his all the efforts of perfection. So this is what the gist of this particular thing. So now that's why Prabhupada says further that therefore one has to have this jnana, that one is not this material body, but one is spirit soul. But even just having that jnana, that knowledge that one is not body, one is spirit soul, is not sufficient for liberation. One may keep on saying aham brahmasmi, aham brahmasmi, aham brahmasmi, but Prabhupada says that one has to act as a spirit soul, not just say that I am brahmasmi, I am brahmasmi. Like that. Only jnana is not sufficient, the vigyan is also required. Jnana and vigyan both should be there. Without that, there is no escape from material bondage. So that's how that jnana is what I am not this body, I am spirit soul. But what is vigyan? Vigyan means basically realized knowledge and acting on that platform of Brahman, acting on the spiritual platform actually. So yesterday I was hearing one lecture of His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. He was telling also that this particular devotees, so devotional service, Prabhupada is also saying here that devotional service, that's why devotional activities are not on materialistic platform. They are on spiritual platform because one is not doing them for sense gratification. And in this way, one is freed from the material platform. So that's how devotees are already liberated. Those who are devotees, who are freed themselves from sinful activities, those who are strictly following four religious principles and engage in devotional service, they're actually one sense liberated only. Why? Because they are not acting for their sense gratification. Only there are some material attachments and anarthas are there that will be finished, and then they will go into the spiritual sky like that. So in this way, activities performing full knowledge. So that's how again Prabhupada is stressing that. So knowledge is required, but one has to act on that knowledge, and basically that is what is devotional service is about. So, Prabhupada says when such activities are performed in full knowledge, then they strengthen one's advancement in real knowledge. If the activities are just done as a ritual, then they will simply remain ritual. They will not gain so much positive spiritual advancement. But when one activities are done in proper knowledge, then they'll give further knowledge, further realizations, and in this way, one will become a completely realized soul. But if one simply renounces the fruity activities and do not take to Krishna consciousness, it does not actually purify the heart of conditioned souls. So one may say tyaga, one may do tyaga after bhoga, after getting fed up with bhoga and its sufferings, one may do tyaga, but it does not purify the person, isn't it? Like for example, somebody has eaten too much of sweet, so he may become fed up with the sweet because he has got a lot of stomach problems, with that diabetes and all that. But that doesn't mean that now that tyaga he has done of sweets, he may give up the sweets now. That tyaga is not completely free from his tendency to give up the sweets. If he gets a opportunity, then again he will come back to eating sweets. Suppose his diabetes gets cured, and doctors say no problem, you can eat sweets. Immediately start taking sweets again. So his tendency of that eating, that self gratification has not become pure, although he has done tyaga. So that's why as long as one's heart is not purified, one has to work on the purity platform, so that's how again he comes back to bhoga. Because his heart is not pure, again he will come to the bhoga platform. And he keeps on pendulum, bhoga tyaga, bhoga tyaga. Because भोग करते करते बहुत मिजरी आता है त्यागा, पर वो त्यागा पे भी स्टेडी नहीं रह सकता क्योंकि हार्ट इज नॉट प्योर. फिर से भोगा, फिर से त्यागा, like that. So in this way, one goes into the pendulum. But that's why the balance is action in Krishna consciousness. Why? Because when one does action in Krishna consciousness, it helps one escape the result of fruity actions. So one performs actions, but one does not do it in a fruity way. In this way, one does not remain on a materialistic platform. So although one is acting, but he is acting for the Supreme Lord. And in this way, he is not bound by the reactions. And in this way, the person, Prabhupada says that action done in Krishna consciousness is always superior to renunciation, which always entails the risk of falling. Because that tyaga platform, there is always the risk of falling. So, renunciation becomes really complete when it is in the knowledge that everything in the existence belongs to the Lord, and that's how no one claims any proprietorship over anything. So, ईशावास्यम इदम सर्वम यत् किंचित जगत. ये प्रिंसिपल जब समझ में आता है कि सब कुछ भगवान का ही है. So, Prabhupada used to say at another place also, if one understands this fact that if everything belongs to Lord, then if one does bhoga, that is crime. If one does tyaga, that is lunacy. Understand lunacy? Lunacy means madness. If one does bhoga, it is crime. For example, if I go to somebody's home and I, on the table, there, okay, let us not take eating example. Suppose, we see a very nice watch is there in person's home, very beautiful watch hanging in person's home. And one says, oh, it is such a nice watch. Let me take it. Let me pick it up and take it for myself. Then what happens? That is crime. That is his. That is not mine. How can I go and just take it? That watch, isn't it? A nice clock is there, wall clock. I cannot take it by myself. So this is that type of bhoga is crime, thievery. Then, if I say I renounce this watch, अरे आपका था ही नहीं तो आप क्या रिनाउंस करेंगे? Because मैं ये watch को छोड़ देता हूँ. अरे छोड़ देना वैसे क्या आपका है ही नहीं? Where is the question of renunciation? So in this way, tyaga is lunacy, bhoga is crime. So real platform is to understand that everything belongs to Krishna, and that's why everything should be engaged in Krishna's service. So when one understands that Krishna is the proprietor of everything, so that is the real platform of renunciation. So when a devotee takes the things and uses them in Krishna's service, Krishna's things, used in Krishna's service. तेरा तुझको अर्पण क्या लागे मेरा, they say, भगवान आपका ही चीज आपको ही दे रहा हूँ, आपकी ही सेवा में लगा रहा हूँ. So this is the right platform of proper knowledge, action in right knowledge. So action in right knowledge means everything belongs to the Lord, and it should be just that's why used for the service of the Lord. And in meanwhile, one may say, what for myself? One can accept prasadam of the Lord. The Lord is so wonderful that not that he'll only enjoy himself only everything. Okay, you keep on serving me, I'll only enjoy, you just suffer. Not like that. Lord also shares, And in this way, one accepts prasadam of the Lord. And in this way, one becomes happy. One remains free from the react. One avoids the risk of falling from the platform of inaction, and also one avoids the risk of getting entangled into material existence due to fruitive actions. So this way, this is the proper balance, perfect balance. Okay, so third verse. Okay, 1 minute. So this is the second time Krishna has directly rejected seeking perfection through dry renunciation and jnana, and has instead recommended work. So both work and renunciation, they have the same goal, but of these two, the detached work is more safer, easier, and more practical. Detached work is more safer, easier, and practical rather than totally detached. Detachment means no working also, like that. So work in knowledge purifies our heart and solidifies whatever realization we attain. When one keeps on working in knowledge, then it gives us realizations. It solidifies those realizations and eventually brings the purification of the heart. So the technical term for a person who renounces work is karma sannyas, karma sannyasi. So this karma sannyasi is one who renounces work. So if material desires arise, then, but what if for such a karma sannyasi material desires arise? Then what he does? He cannot take shelter of using his senses in the work, that will purify him. Although he may try to give up the work, but if his heart is not pure, sometimes the material desires may arise in him. And then what he should do? Because he has taken sannyas, now he cannot again start working. So in this way, he has no shelter. On the other hand, somebody who is working with detachment, then he always has senses to be engaged in Krishna service. In this way, eventually he will totally be renounced of all sense interactions. So that's how karma sannyasi has only two choices: either mundane action or inaction. But that is both are risky, like that, because his senses has no legitimate engagement. So that's why detached work is more practical path of renunciation. Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan also comments, working in renunciation strengthens one's knowledge. So rather than renouncing the work, one should work with renounced spirit. That strengthens one's knowledge. So in this chapter, the word sannyas is used to indicate karma sannyas, which means renunciation of giving of work. So we should not think that then why in ISKCON there is sannyas. ISKCON we don't have karma sannyas. We see ISKCON sannyasis, they work harder than any materialistic person also. You see their schedule and schedule of any materialistic person. They at least take some breaks. Sannyasis are like on and on. So they are not karma sannyasis. So once His Holiness Bhakti Rasamrut Maharaj sannyas ceremony was there, and one of the devotee commented, in Kali Yuga sannyas is forbidden. On sannyas ceremony only he spoke like that. Kali Yuga sannyas is forbidden. So Bhakti Rasamrut Maharaj, when his time done came for giving class, sannyas ceremony, there is a class also. So one who takes initiative, he also gives class. So that time he said, yes, in Kali Yuga, sannyas is forbidden. Which sannyas? Karma sannyas is forbidden. But when the sannyas is taken in bhakti for the service of the Lord, that sannyas is not forbidden. And that's why we see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas. He did not take karma sannyas. He took sannyas in the bhakti. And we see following in Srila Bhakti Sai Thakur has taken sannyas. Srila Prabhupada has taken sannyas. And he gave sannyas also. If the sannyas is forbidden, then why all these people are taking sannyas? No, because it is not a karma sannyas. But in this particular chapter, what sannyas refers to is karma sannyas, means giving up one. And that is the traditional understanding of sannyas. Sannyas means abhi kuch nahi, forest mein jao or meditate. Don't do anything else. But that is not a sannyas. Similarly, the term used in this chapter about yoga. So yoga is used to indicate karma yoga or nishkama karma yoga, working with devotion without attachment to results. So yoga yukta in this chapter means who is a karma yogi, who is engaged in such a karma yoga. Ayoga or ayukta means fruitive worker who is not engaged in karma yoga. So this terminology just remember while this chapter is going on. Like that. Okay, so third verse, please recite.
करुणा ब्रजेश प्रभु. मोहन सखा प्रभु.
हरे कृष्ण. नेह्यस्य नित्यसन्न्यासी यो न द्वेष्टि न काङ्क्षति निर्द्वन्द्वो हि महाभावो सुखं बन्धत् प्रमुच्यते. Who neither hates nor desires the fruit of his activities is known to be always renounced. Such a person, free from all dualities, easily overcomes material bondage and is completely liberated, O mighty Arjuna.
Please read purport.
One who is fully in Krishna consciousness is always a renouncer because he feels neither hatred nor desires for the results of his action. Such a renouncer, dedicated to the transcendental loving service of Lord, is fully qualified in knowledge because he knows his constitutional position in his relationship with Krishna. He knows
Yes.
fully well
Yeah,
that.
that's it. That's it. So, once upon a time, Srila Prabhupada was often, was shown by his disciples one picture, photo in the newspaper, wherein one yogi or Baba, he was offered huge amount of money, and he was doing like this. I don't want. And then they said to Prabhupada, this is so renounced. Prabhupada said, you click my photo, all the money like this, keep the whole money and like this. So now the specific qualification of karma yoga is mentioned over here is what? He neither uh, desires the fruits of his activity nor hates them. So attachment and aversions are two sides of same coin. So again, in this regards, His Holiness Raghunath Maharaj, when he was newly becoming devotee, so before that he had been yogi, so he was living in the caves, and then when he was told to live in a temple, so that time he felt, oh, this is too much of sense gratification. It is too much of opulence here. What is this devotees? They are eating such opulent prasadam. They are staying in nice, accommodation. They are having chatai or foam to sleep. They should sleep on the ground or something like that. So they are using some gadgets and this and that. So in this way, he was feeling like that. So his senior devotees told him, Prabhupada told us, if Krishna wants us to stay in a hut, we should stay in a hut. One should not be attached to palace. But if Krishna wants us to stay in palace, one should not be attached to hut also, and should not become attached to the kutir and say that no, I will not stay in palace, like that. So that's why neither hating the results of fruits, results of actions, nor desiring also. That is renunciation. Generally, we understand that not desiring the fruits of action is renunciation, but not even hating them is also renunciation. One should not even hate them. One should not become averse also. This aversion is also bad. So sometimes some yogis and babas, if they are given some money, they become extremely angry. Hey, humko pakad raha hai, boys. So Vishwamitra, same thing happened. In the beginning, he had Menaka who came. So he became attached to the fruits of his action. His desires, he wanted to enjoy. Then came Rambha, and then he became very angry on him. Hey, you are trying to fall me down. He became very angry. And again, he lost his tapobal because both the times. So in this way, neither hating nor desiring. So if it comes, devotee may accept it and engage in Lord's service. If it doesn't come, devotee says anyways it is for Krishna's service. So whatever Krishna gives, I am fine with it. Like that. So for Krishna says devotees can, stay in a kutir also or in a palace also. You neither desire this nor hate that. Like that. So that's what Prabhupada is saying. So such a renouncer is dedicated to transcendental loving service of the Lord. So devotee's attachment is to the service of the Lord, not for getting the fruits, not for not getting the fruits. He is neither attached to the fruits positively, or nor he is neither attached for the fruits nor averse of the fruits, but he is attached to the Lord, like that. And in this way, he is qualified for his. He is fully qualified in knowledge. Why? Because he understands his constituent position as a servant of Krishna. So, uh, so he understands that I am servant of Krishna, and Prabhupada says further that what is that knowledge? Knowledge is that one is in quality with same as Krishna, yet quantitatively different from Krishna. So Achintya Veda Veda Tattva. This is the correct knowledge which leads to this freedom from aspiration and lamentation. And because there is no duality in his mind, because whatever he does it for only Krishna and not for his own sake. So such a person is called as Nitya Sannyasi. Nitya Sannyasi means he is person who is always renounced. Why renounced? Because he is doing everything for Krishna. So a sannyasi is meant to achieve liberation, and one who renounces the fruits of his activities will also attain it. So such detachment, feeling neither hatred or no desire for the fruits of earth, is the mark of a true sannyasi. Sukham bandhat gamuchyate. Easily overcome the bondage and becomes liberated. So Krishna is telling karma yogi can be a true sannyasi. He is a real sannyasi. So I think it was to Rupanuga Prabhu, who was actually a householder. So that time there was a fashion coming in ISKCON that many were taking sannyas. So Rupanuga Prabhu also, he asked Prabhupada, should I also take sannyas? Prabhupada, because so many of my God brothers are taking sannyas. Prabhupada wrote a letter to him, you are already a sannyasi. I think to His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, he wrote say that you are already a sannyasi. You are as good as sannyasi because you are doing, engaged into service of the Lord always. And similarly to Yamuna Mataji also Prabhupada that traditionally, according to Vedic culture, woman cannot take sannyas. But you should stay in a sannyas spirit, should adopt the same spirit as sannyas. Devote yourself for the service of the Lord. Like that. So in this way, factually one should understand that nothing belongs to anyone. So there is no question of renunciation. It is question of engagement in the service of the Lord. Okay, fourth verse.
Mandar Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. साङ्ख्ययोगौ पृथक् बाला
Sankhya-yoga पृथक्
प्रवदन्ति न पण्डितः
प्रवदन्ति न पण्डिताः
एकमपि अस्थितः सम्यक्
एकमपि अस्थितः सम्यक्
उभयोर्विन्दते फलम्.
उभयोर्विन्दते फलम्.
Translation: Only the ignorant speak of devotional service, karma yoga, as being different from the analytical study of the material world, Shankhya. Those who are actually learned say that he who applies himself well to one of these paths achieve the results of both.
Please read further.
Purport. The aim of the analytical study of the material world is to find the soul of existence. The soul of the material world is Vishnu, or the super soul. Devotional service to the Lord entails service to the super soul. One process is to find the root of the tree, and the other is to water the root.
Excellent. That's it. Thank you. Yes, so here these two verses, Krishna is emphasizing that karma yoga and sannyas are the same. There is no difference. Because the goal of jnana is to find the root of all existence or soul of all existence. And that means to realize who is that root? That root is Vishnu. So to do that, what is the goal of karma? Karma yoga? To water that root or to satisfy that Lord Vishnu. Yajnarthat karmano nyatra lokoyam karma bandhana. So karma is to be performed for yajna. So the both have the same aim. Is to simply Vishnu. Vishnu is the aim of both Sankhya Yoga as well as Karma Yoga. Both have the same aim. Like that. So that's how in essence there is no difference between two, because both of them are aiming at Lord Vishnu. So Krishna says that only ignorant. They say that Sankhya, analytical study of material world, and Jnana, Sankhya or Jnana, both are same, or Karma Sannyas, and Yoga, Karma Yoga are different. So they are not different. Both Karma Yoga and Sankhya Yoga or Jnana Yoga involve renunciation. But what is better to renounce? Should we work with detachment or altogether renounce the work? Krishna's answer is very clear and consistent. There is no confusion for Krishna, although there was a confusion for Arjun. For Krishna, there is no confusion. He is very clear and he is very consistent. He is not telling one thing at a time and then saying some different thing. He is very consistent also. These are not two different paths with a separate goals. Jnana Yoga or Sankhya Yoga and Karma Yoga are not two different paths with different goals. They are aspects of the same path with the same goal. That's why yoga ladder. There is one ladder, Karma Yoga and then Jnana Yoga. It comes to the same, it has the same goal. Both of them, the goal is to reach to Lord Vishnu, is the end of the ladder. So how are the work and renunciation the same? Isn't it that these two terms are going to be contradictory? Work and renunciation, right? For example, if I am holding a stone in my hand and now I want to pick up axe, then I drop the rock or stone to free my hand. Then I can pick up the axe. Similarly, somebody with material desires must first of all drop his material attachments before acquiring the spiritual taste. However, these two steps can also be performed as one step. In order to pick up one object, I automatically drop another object. If I have to pick up the axe, I can automatically drop the stone. So in this way, Karma Yoga is done with detachment, allows one to become materially detached and spiritually attached at the same time. So this is what the topic is going to be discussed further. The next verse. Please recite this verse.
Mridul Krishna Prabhu.
यत् सांख्यय प्रपद्यते स्थानम्
यत् सांख्ये प्राप्यते स्थानम्
tad yogir api gamyate.
Tad yogairapi gamyate.
Ekam sankyam cha yogam cha.
Ekam sankyam cha yogam cha.
Yah pashyati sapashyati.
Yah pashyati sa pashyati.
Translation: one who knows that the position reached by the means of analytical study can also be attained by the devotional service, and who therefore sees analytical study and devotional service to be on the same level, sees things as they are.
So, Sankhya means analytical study of the material world, the material body and the soul, and analysis of temporary material world. What is the result of that? When one analyzes this material world, it leads to detachment from matter, and when one realizes the position of spirit soul, then one becomes attached to spiritual life. So one becomes detached from matter and material action, that is called as sannyas. And such knowledge ultimately leads one to find the root of all existence. तो बहुनाम जन्मनाम अंते ज्ञानमान माम प्रपद्यते वासुदेव सर्वमिति. उनको समझ में आता है ultimately वासुदेव is all in all. So then now Nishkama Karma Yoga is what? Nishkama Karma Yoga also has similar things. One performs actions, but at the same time, one understands that this is not material body, a spirit soul. So the action is done in the knowledge of one's being a spirit soul as a part and parcel of Supreme Lord. And that's how one renders service unto the Supreme Lord. That is watering the root. So, in this way, there also one acts on the platform of detachment, and in this way, he works in Krishna consciousness. Now, similar things came in chapter number 3 also, wherein Krishna established the superiority of Jnana Yoga over Karma Yoga, but he recommended that Karma Yoga is more suitable for Arjun's situation. However, in the essence, the aim of both of these yoga is Lord Vishnu, because detachment from matter or sannyas is complete only when one gets attachment to the spirit through Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga, without Karma Yoga, even the Jnana Yoga is not complete, or detachment is not complete. There has to be positive attachment to Krishna. So in this way, the both processes are the same in the sense that they aim for the same goal, although superficially one involves detachment and the other involves attachment. So in Arjuna's context and in the context of most of the people of this world, Karma Yoga is more relevant, is more practical. Yeah. So in the purport, that's what Prabhupada says also. In the first process of Sankhya, one has to become detached from matter, and in the Karma Yoga process or devotional process, one has to become attached to Krishna. So actually, both processes are the same, although superficially one process appears to be more detachment, and the other attachment. So in this way, Krishna is repeating his point from text first 4 for emphasis. Like to give the emphasis, Krishna is repeating, because repetition is required, because otherwise person may not be able to grasp the things. So in this way, Krishna is clearly delineating that devotional service or karma yoga as a better means to achieve goal, even though both jnana and karma yoga lead to sthanam shashvatam, supreme eternal abode. So it is important to understand that Krishna is not speaking about varieties of paths leading to varieties of inferior or superior destinations. It is not like that. Rather, he is describing two aspects of a path. One is easy, one is difficult. With the same goal. Both have same goal. One is a easier path, one is a difficult path. So these verses are applicable now not only for devotees, even those who are trying to get Paramatma realization, Brahman realization, or whether Bhagwan realization, it is applicable to for both. Usually, Prabhupada has given all the commentaries based on Bhagwan realization or Bhakti. But even if somebody is wanting Paramatma realization, a yogi or a jnani, or Brahman realization. These are all verses are applicable for them also. So, if we renounce the activities before our hearts are clean, we will be forced by our unclean hearts to engage in improper activities. The senses will demand engagement, but Jnana Yoga process forbids sense activity, isn't it? So, unless the senses are engaged in good work, it will be difficult to stop improper work. Krishna therefore recommends keeping the senses always engaged while simultaneously purifying the heart by working with detachment. This is more practical and therefore superior path. The comparison between the two paths is continuing in the next verse. So both these two are the same aspects, of same path, two aspects of same path, and they have same goal. But this particular process of karma yoga is more practical. So that's what will be Krishna is emphasizing. Okay, sixth verse, please recite.
मायापुर बिहारी प्रभु.
संन्यासस्तु महाबाहो
Sannyasasthu mahabhaho
दुःखम् अप्तुम् अयोगत
dukkhamaptu ayogata
योगोक्त मुनिर्ब्रह्मा
yoga yukto munirbrahma
न चिरेणान्विगच्छति
na chirena vigacchati.
Merely renouncing all activities and not engaging in the devotional service of the Lord cannot make one happy. But a thoughtful person engaged in devotional service can achieve the supreme without delay.
Please read further.
There are two classes of sannyasis or persons in the renounced order of life. The Mayavadi sannyasis are engaged in the study of Sankhya philosophy, whereas the Vaishnava sannyasis are engaged in the study of Bhagavatam philosophy, which affords the proper commentary on the Vedanta Sutras. The Mayavadi sannyasis also study the Vedanta Sutras but use their own commentary called Sariraka Bhashya, written by Shankaracharya. The students of the Bhagavata school are engaged in the devotional service of the Lord according to the Pancharatrika regulations, and therefore the Vaishnava sannyasis have multiple engagement in the transcendental service of the Lord. The Vaishnava sannyasis have nothing to do with material activities, and yet they perform various activities in the devotional service to the Lord. But the Mayavadi sannyasis engaged in the study of Sankhya and Vedanta and speculation cannot relish the transcendental service of the Lord. Because their study become very tedious, they sometimes become tired of Brahma speculation and thus they take shelter of the Bhavatam without proper understanding.
Yeah, that's
Consequent,
thank you. So in this way, because they have no positive engagement or higher taste, so their Mayavadi sannyasis, what happens is their renunciation becomes very dry and boring. So they get exhausted. Arey, bahut thak gaya. So then they want to hear some leela. So sometimes we see some Mayavadis also do some katha and leela. Why? Because they get very much bored by their dry speculative knowledge and just keep on meditation and all that. So they take to leela, but what happens? They do so, but without proper understanding. उनको understanding बहुत poor रहता है. They don't have proper understanding, because of which they again get into some problems. They misinterpret the leelas. They will say, oh, this is mundane. When Brahman is covered by mode of goodness, that is Lord Vishnu. Then he is doing Ras Leela. This is that. So there is no proper understanding. On the other hand, the Vaishnava sannyasis, they are engaged in devotional service, and that's why they are happy in discharge of their transcendental duties. They derive great pleasure in performing their duties. Prabhupada also used to say that bhakti is a very blissful process. Kevala Ananda Kanda. So chanting, dancing, feasting, these are all very blissful activities. In general, activities in devotional service are very blissful, and in this way, they are guaranteed to have the ultimate entrance into the kingdom of God. They don't have to become bored. So Mayavadi sannyasis, they sometimes fall down from the path of self-realization and again enter into material activities. So Mayavadi sannyasis, what happens with them? They get bored. So either they take to renunciation improperly. So because of their renunciation, they just study of the Vedanta and all, to Charita Bhashya, speculation, meditation. These things become boring for them. And either they take Bhagavata with improper understanding, or second thing they do is philanthropic activity. They'll open hospitals, schools, and keep on doing, lot of social work and all that, charitable works and all. So in this way, they again come down to the platform material engagements. They'll not have any spiritual engagement. They'll again take up the altruistic, philanthropic, social service, such activities they'll take, which are all on the material platform. And again, that same, Jagan Mithya, when they say Brahma Satya Jagan Mithya, this Brahman is reality, this material world is false. But now they are again got into that Mithya Jagat. And they are again got into that Mithya activities, isn't it? So, in this way, they cannot have a very solid footing. But a Vaishnava sannyasi is because they are, always very blissfully engaged in service of the Lord. So I was recently seeing one short video of His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. So one person in the audience, he asked him, "How are you?" And Maharaj said, "I have this problem, I have that problem, I have this problem." So many problems he listed. Some cancer, some liver transplant, and so many varieties. I was also shocked. I was not knowing. We knew that Maharaj health is bad, but itna level tak hai. So many serious issues he has. At the end, he still, but I am very happy. So they'll be shocked. How this is, one is very happy. Why? Because he is he's blissfully engaged, and he says, "I'm very happy to share this knowledge of Krishna consciousness with all of you. I'm very happy to discuss this Krishna Katha with you." So in this way, because they have got taste for higher taste, so they can be happy. And that's why they don't have to go to materialistic activity again. They'll again engage into the spiritual activity. They'll continue to engage. In fact, as Yamunacharya said, Navanavarasadhami rantum asit, Yadavadi Vama Cheta Krishna Pradara Vindayor, Navanavarasadhami rantum asit. They experience newer and newer mellows of devotional service, newer and newer mellows of Krishna consciousness. So sometimes we see some devotees have read Prabhupada books over and over again. Like His Holiness Prahladanand Maharaj, His Holiness Bhakti Maharaj, they have read several times Prabhupada books. Why they are able to read same book again and again? Because Navanavarasadhami rantumasi. They are able to experience higher and higher tastes. And that's why they don't have to, their mind doesn't get deviated towards, material activities. So that's what Prabhupada is talking in the purport. Okay, 7. So this ends this second section. Karma yoga is equal to but easier than sannyas. Same results as sannyas one can achieve through karma yoga also, but the difference is karma yoga is easier than taking a karma sannyas. Okay, so the third section now it begins. Performing nishkama karma yoga frees one from bondage. So in this section, from 7th verse to 16th verse, this section is there. In this section, it is mentioned that one who is in knowledge understands his incompatibility with material nature and thus acts only for purification unattached to material results. He acts only for purification unattached to material results. Okay, so 7th verse, please recite.
Mayuresh Prabhu.
Yes. Yoga-yukta Vishuddhatma
Yoga yukto vishodhatma
Vijitama Jitendriya
jitatma jitendriya
Sarvabhutatma Bhutatma
sarvabhutatma
Kurvan Apina Lipyate.
kurvan
Should I read translation, Project?
Yes, of course.
One who works in devotion who is a pure soul and who controls his mind and senses, is dear to everyone, and everyone is dear to him. Though always working, such a man is never entangled. Purport.
No,
One who is
don't read for. Yeah. So this verse is telling that what are, so from 7th verse to the 12th verse, characteristic of yoga yukta is used, are given. The 7th verse is talking that such a yoga yukta person who is engaged in nishkama karma yoga is never entangled. So yoga yukto vishuddhatma, he becomes purified. Vijitatma, Vijitatma jitendriya, he has become, got control over his mind and senses. Sarva bhutatma bhutatma is dear to everyone and everyone is dear to him. Kurvan apina lipyate, although always working, he is never entangled. Like that. So purport Prabhupada says that such a person cannot think of any living entity as separate from Krishna. No one who is engaged in the devotional service, he doesn't see any living entity as separate from Krishna. Now this difference, that doesn't mean that he's Krishna only. Sometimes people say, मानव सेवा ही माधव सेवा है, because सब लोग कृष्ण ही है, सब लोग भगवान ही है. It is not that, that is not a fact. He understands they are not separate from Krishna means what? Just as leaves and branches of a tree are not separate from the tree. Just like, the family members are not separate from family. They are the same part of the family. So similarly, he knows. Now when we say that son is not different than the father, means what? Are they homogeneous? No. Son is not different than father means what? They are one in their intention. They are one in their goals. Like father may have a big business. Father wants to expand business. Son also wants to expand the business. So father has the same surname, son also has same surname. Isn't it? So that way they are one. So same way all living entities, they are being part and parcel of the Lord. They are not different than the Lord. They are not separate from the Lord in terms of quality. So they know very well that by pouring the water on the root of the tree, the water will be distributed to all leaves and branches. Or by supplying food to the stomach, the energy is automatically distributed throughout the body. So Prabhupada is putting this verse, Bhagavatam verse. So we all know these analogies. So those who work in Krishna consciousness, he is servant to all, Prabhupada says. And that's how he is very dear to everyone. So here Krishna had told that Sarva Bhutatma Bhutatma, he is dear to everyone. And everyone is dear to him. So this word Sarva Bhutatma and Bhutatma, so one may interpret it as what? To all living entities, Atma Bhuta Atma is Atma only of all living entities. So Atma means on what sense is Atma? Is very dear. One say, no, you are my life and soul. Doesn't mean that you are become my soul now. Your soul and my soul is one. You are my life and soul means what? You are very dear to me. So same way, Sarva Bhutatma Bhutatma means he is very compassionate and he is very dear to everyone. Why he is very dear to everyone? Because he understands that everybody is part and parcel of the Lord, and that's why one who works in Krishna consciousness, he tries to become servant of all. And that's why he's dear to everyone. Why? Because he's always in the mood of serving. How can I serve him? How can I serve him? Because he has got that mentality that everybody is part and parcel of Krishna. So you understand that everybody is part of Krishna's family, and that's how I have to serve everyone. And that's how, because he acts in that spirit of servant of everyone, so everyone becomes satisfied in his work, because he has no desire for personal agendas, personal selfishness. He has no such desires. He has desire to only serve and serve the people, serve the society, and serve Krishna. So that's why he is pure in his consciousness, and in this way everyone is satisfied with his work. And because he is pure in consciousness, that's why his mind is controlled. Jitatma jitendriya. Because his mind is controlled, his senses are also controlled. Because mind is the central point of all the senses. Because his mind is always fixed on Krishna, there is no chance of his being deviated from Krishna, nor there is a chance that he will engage his senses in the matters other than the self of the Lord. So, a man with controlled senses cannot be offensive to anyone. So, if somebody is in that spirit of service to Krishna, he has got that pure intention of service to Krishna and service to everyone. He just thinks himself as I am just a servant. Dasosmi. Bhakti also say to everyone that I am just your servant. So because he is in that pure consciousness, he doesn't want to lord it over. He doesn't want to have any personal gratification, selfish gratification. So because he's servant of everyone, so such a person in the mood of a servant is pure in his consciousness, pure in his mind, because he has no selfish agendas in his mind. So such a person has controlled mind, controlled senses, and that's why he is not offensive to anybody. He is free from offensive mentality. He has well-wishing mentality. He has compassionate mentality towards everyone. He is friend to everyone. He is well-wisher of everyone. So he doesn't want to do any offenses. There is no offenses for him. Person with lot of selfish desires, lot of egoistic, mentality that my ego should be satisfied. I should get all the respect. I should get all the what do you say? All the benefits, credits. I should get all the credits. I should get all the respects. Such a person, when he doesn't get, he starts offending others. How you do this? He becomes very offensive. One who has lot of desire for name, fame, recognition, typically such person becomes very much offensive towards us. Because the person with controlled senses and controlled mind, he has no such desire for any name, fame, recognition. He understands that everything belongs to Krishna. I am just a servant. This he serves everyone. So that way, because he serves everyone, he doesn't become offensive to everyone. So now what he gains, this question always may come. What do I gain if I serve everyone? Because every living entity is thinking, "Mujhe kya milega isme se?" What he gains is he becomes dear to everyone. He receives abundant amount of love from everyone. So once Srila Prabhupada was there, so that time, so many devotees were offering various things to him, and they are putting their all attention to him. They were they're completely engaged in serving Prabhupada and all. They're so enthusiastic just to get a glimpse of Prabhupada. The devotees were very eager. So one of the servants of Srila Prabhupada, he noted, Prabhupada, they love you so much. Everybody loves you so much. Prabhupada replied, yes, because I love everyone so much. Why they love me so much? Because I love them so much. Like that. So in this way, this is the secret of being happy. Secret of being happy is what? To be in the mood of a servant and not in the offensive mood. Person who is in offensive mood is always very disturbed internally and is always very, very much suffering internally. Like that. But a person who is in the mood of servant is very blissful. Although it appears externally that he just have to act like a servant now. But he is very blissful because everybody becomes very dear to him. Ultimately, it is the love which satisfies the heart and not the things. Things don't give satisfaction to the heart. Love gives satisfaction to the heart. And that love comes by being loving towards others, being serving towards others. So more and more one is in the mood of servant, more and more one will become dear to everyone. And that's how one will become happy. So this is the secret of being happy, in the mood of being servant. Now Prabhupada says, ask the question, you are saying such thing, but Arjun was offensive. That's why he was fighting now. Without being offensive, how can one be fighting? Arjun was offensive in the battle. So he was not Krishna conscious, that means. He was not lovable. He was not love, he was killing. He was offensive. So Prabhupada says Arjun was only superficially offensive, because all the assembled persons on the battlefield would continue to live individually as the soul cannot be slain, as explained in second chapter. So he was only superficially offensive. So spiritually, no one was killed on the battlefield. of Kurukshetra, only their dresses were changed by the order of Krishna, who was personally present. So what was job of Arjun? To change their dress. Krishna wanted him to change the dress, and that's why he was changing the dress of everyone. So you can picturize Arjun is basically removing their dress and putting new dress on them. So Prabhupada is at times very funny also. Like, so on the order of Krishna he was fighting. He was not having hatred towards them, but he had to do this task of killing them on the order of Krishna because they were acting mischievously. So there he had to teach them some lesson on the order of the Lord, and that's why he was not having that hateful mentality. Therefore, Arjun, while fighting on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, was not really fighting at all. He was simply carrying out the orders of Krishna in full Krishna consciousness. Such a person is never entangled in the reactions of world. A beautiful purport Prabhupada has given. In this purport, Prabhupada has paraphrased 2.12, which describes the individuality of the soul. So, why? Because there is the reference to Sarva Bhutatma Bhutatma, compassion to all souls. So, Mayavadis, what they take compassion to all souls? They means they say that soul becomes the soul of all living entities. That's why we were talking also, if you remember before, Bhutatma Bhutatma means ये सब soul सब एक ही हो गए फिर. All souls become one with each other. So Krishna is not saying that. He uses the word Sarva Bhutatma Bhutatma means he becomes compassionate to all the devotees with the symptoms of its advancement. So that's how once we asked Budakesh to, that sometimes it is written also about Shukadev Goswami that he is present in everybody's heart. It is mentioned in Bhagavatam. You are present in everybody's heart. So everybody was confused. How Shukadev Goswami is he God to be present in everybody's heart? So his best Budakesh was saying it is not like that. When you say he is present in everybody's heart, it is not as a Paramatma is sitting in everybody's heart. How he is present in everybody's heart? As a dear personality. When we say that ये प्रभु सबके हृदय में है, तो ऐसा नहीं कि परमात्मा जैसे हृदय में है फिजिकली, सबके हृदय में है या नहीं, सब लोग उनको इतना चाहते हैं, तो सब लोग उनके बारे में सोचते रहते हैं, उनसे बहुत प्रेम करते हैं. दैट वे सबके हृदय में, नॉट दैट सबके हृदय में एक्सपांड कर लिया परमात्मा जैसा उन्होंने दिया, ये भी सबके हृदय में चले गए. दिस इज मायावाद लाइक दैट. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he uses the word Sarva Bhutatma Bhutatma to refer to the compassion of devotee with three symptoms of advancement. One is Vishuddhatma, a soul with purified intelligence; Vijitatma, a soul with self-control; and Jitendriya, and who has conquered his senses. So we elaborately discuss in the purport discusses how because of doing these things, one becomes dear. Because of possessing these qualifications, one becomes very dear to everyone. So in this way, one who possesses these qualities has not become one with everyone, as Mayavadi says, you are me, I am you. Not like that, But he feels everyone is very dear to him, like that. So our time is up. We'll stop here. Tomorrow we'll continue. Yeah. So next two verses, Krishna is going to describe who are these Jitendriyas, who are detached sense controlled workers. So that is going to be spoken in the next verses, which we will discuss tomorrow. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. Granthara Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. There was something. Oh, there was some that's Bhoga is crime, Tyaga is lunacy. Okay, it's already there. Okay, Prabhu. So it's fine. In conclude.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you, Guruji.
Yes.
Guruji, sometimes it happens that like people don't know the welfare, don't know that saintly person is wants their welfare only, right? so they think that he uh, saintly
the
person
winners.
is yeah, saintly person is not dear to him, right? So how to understand this translation with this thing? Like,
The question is that sometimes people cannot appreciate the saintly person's activities and he doesn't come dear. Actually, one of the qualities of devotees is also mentioned. Dhira, dhira jana priyo priya karo. Sri Goswamis, they are also very dear to Prabhupada says to saintly and also to ruffians. He is dear to both. So one thing is that at least that saintly person is not inimical to everyone. Like although Duryodhan was inimical to Yudhishthir, Yudhishthir had no enmity towards Duryodhan. You know, but then what to do? This is the sometimes some people are very adamantly this thing. They are very adamantly envious. So such adamantly envious people are generally they may not like the saintly person. But those who are little sane, such people they may not be devotees also, but they have some sanity. They'll be very much loving the saintly person. So one of the example is also Dr. Patel, with whom Srila Prabhupada would go on morning walk. Dr. Patel was also Mayavadi, and he had a lot of other concepts of morality and this, that, social service, this, that. And Prabhupada would smash him like anything so many times. And sometimes there will be even fighting amongst them. Prabhupada would shout at him, and he would shout at Prabhupada. This way, these things could happen. But then ultimately, he would come every day still. Although he did not take Diksha and all that from Prabhupada, but every day he would come. He had got developed that attachment to Prabhupada because he understood that he could feel Prabhupada's love also towards him. Although philosophically there was a lot of this thing. So in this way, we see that some of the people who are adamant at the envious attitudes, they may not be liking saintly person, but one who is genuinely saintly, if they come in contact with such a person, they will surely have that. Or sometimes some people may have misconceptions. Like there are people who have misconceptions about Prabhupada now because they have never understood Prabhupada what he is. So they have actually not come in touch with him. That's why they may criticize Prabhupada sometimes that he was fanatic about women or something like that. They may criticize. But in general, saintly person is very dear to everyone, to all the people. Does it answer?
Roji, actually, my question was like in this case, it appears that everyone he is not dear to everyone. But if they actually come to know, then they will be able to understand. Then the statement will be like he is dear to everyone, right?
Yeah, because of their sometimes they are not actually understood only what this person is. That's why they start holding some misconceptions about him.
Okay. Oh.
And that's why they think that he's not dear. But they will come, even though they may be devotee or not devotee, but still he will become dear. He will become dear to them. Like that.
Yeah.
That's
Thank
the way.
you. Mm-hmm.
Like we have some stories of Angulimal and Buddha. Although in the beginning Angulimal was very much against Buddha, he was wanting to kill Buddha also. But by seeing the saintly behavior of Buddha, he became also melted. Similarly, we see Madhai, Jagai, they were in the beginning very much averse towards Nityananda Prabhu. But simply by seeing the saintly behavior, when they actually understood what is Nityananda Prabhu, then they also became very much favorable towards it. Like that.
Yeah, got the point, Roji.
Roji, in Ramanujacharya's case also, some pujaris were very envious of him and they tried to poison him through Charanamrit and many stories came such. But later they became their heart transformed. Like they also became very dear. Yeah.
So they realized the greatness and glory of Ramanuja. So then they also became
Right.
even Parashar Bhatta also same thing.
Right. Right. Hmm.
Hare Krishna, Puja.
Yes.
Hare Krishna, Puja. Puja, I have one question actually. I have one question. That so preaching we call as like hello. Preaching we call as whenever we get connected with the devotees and we get the knowledge. And then when we feel that okay, now I'm getting enough knowledge, and Krishna, others people are not able to get. So I can start preaching. I can help in assisting. Then other also can get the knowledge. So we would call it the whenever our heart is fully filled and it is overflowing, then we start giving this same knowledge to the others. So they also get same benefit. But I am getting the benefit. And philanthropic activity is also possible that only, na, Bhuji, that when the person see that, okay, I have this knowledge and all others are people are also belongs to God only, but they did not have these facilities like food, hospital and education. So this is my duty that I can also, whatever I get, I can provide them also. So then they also get the benefit. So I want to understand, Bhuji, how this philanthropic activities and this devotional service totally different. And by doing philanthropic activities, they will stuck into the material world, and by devotional service, they will liberate. And how these are totally different, even looking like same.
If philanthropic activities are done with the knowledge that everybody is Krishna's servant, and let me share with them whatever I have, the way Ranti Dev did, then that is glorious philanthropic activity. It is a non-different and devotional service. Or Shivi Chakravarti or Ranti Dev, they did with that understanding that everybody is Krishna's servant, and it is my duty to share because we are all brothers. So let us share and enjoy, share the this thing. But they have clear understanding that everything is coming from Krishna, and that's how everybody has the right to have, just like every child has every son has the right to possess father's properties. The same way Vasudev Vipra also. He also had same understanding. This body is not only mine; it also belongs to other worms and insects. So they should also be able to get. So that way they did. Then it is like devotional service. It is only. But if one thinks that I am the one, हम है सबको दे रहे हैं, हमारे वजह से सबको खाना मिल रहा है, सबको कपड़ा मिल रहा है, हम है. So it is an egoistic philanthropic activity. Then it is not devotional service. It is on a material platform. So that's why philanthropic activities, if they are done with a, and also, first of all, the knowledge, if it is there, that a person is a spirit soul, then he will understand that simply giving food is not sufficient. Today I give him food or clothing, tomorrow his clothes will again be torn, and again he will remain like that only. Tomorrow again he will become hungry. So is this a sufficient thing? No. So real philanthropic activity, that's why, is to connect everyone to Krishna, is to bring him to Krishna consciousness. So while a person who is in philanthropic activities, he may certainly see that there is a prasadam given and all that. At the same time, he tries to give them Krishna, because otherwise he is lacking in the real knowledge. Even if somebody understands that yes, everybody is God's children only, सब भगवान के ही तो बच्चे हैं, सबको खाना देना चाहिए, भगवान ने हमको दिया है, हम सबको देंगे, ये एक अच्छा भाव है, this is a good mood. At the same time, it is not a proper knowledge. The knowledge means that one should also understand that I should make some arrangement by which this person should not become hungry ever again. So some person will say, so okay, I will give him job so that he will keep earning. So this is little higher than just doing this thing. Just giving a food one day and saying हमने उसके ऊपर और व्यक्ति है कि समझ में आएगा कि अरे केवल जिंदगी भर जॉब करके उसको खाना पीना मिल जाएगा, but he cannot be happy. Unless until he connects to Krishna. We'll give Krishna along with the food. So he'll give prasad also, there will be kirtan also, there will be books also, he'll give them knowledge also of Krishna consciousness. Then such a person does real philanthropic activities. Otherwise, he is lacking in the knowledge. So his philanthropic activities are not fully sufficient. As Srila Prabhupada also spoke to Dr. Malhotra, he asked this question, Dr. Malhotra, why don't you open hospitals and schools and all? Why are you building temples and all? So Prabhupada said, see, if you see that some rich person's son, he has got lost. So some person comes and gives him, oh, he's crying. Some person just gives him food and goes away. Okay, that's a good man. Other person comes and gives him some clothes and medicines and gives away. Third person may give him, okay, you are lost, okay, come and do job at my place. But if a person can identify, he's Tata's son, he's Birla's son, Why why he should be suffering like this? He should not be doing some job like this, like a prodigal son. you know so then he comes and brings him back to Tata or Birla. Then there is automatically food problem and clothing problem is solved, medicine problem, all these things are solved. So in this way, the one who brings somebody to Krishna, he does the greatest philanthropic activities. So because he's connecting him to Krishna, it is ensured that Krishna will take care of him. So in the mundane philanthropy, there are a lot of these issues are there. One is that one thing that I am the provider, not understanding that it is Krishna who ultimately provides for everyone. Is one problem. Second problem is that so they are good people. They are better than selfish people who don't do anything. Certainly, they are better than a people who don't do any selfish. They don't do anything for others. They want to enjoy everything for themselves. So these people are little better than that. They are doing dravya yajna and all that. But one who does in the proper knowledge that everything belongs to Krishna and let me give. So they are like Kranti Dev. He is very much glorified in Bhagavatam. Shivi Chakravarti is very much glorified also. So that is a right. The philanthropy in right knowledge is also important. Also, what is the right type of philanthropy also should be understood. One day, one person met Radheshandru. He told, actually, I want to feed. I have a big social worker. I do a lot of social service. Okay, what social service you do? He said, I feed chicken to everyone, free of cost. Radheshandru told, my God, you are not acting. You are not doing the welfare. You are doing the harm to them. Very dangerous. And he said, how dangerous? He was innocent. He did not know how it is dangerous. He said, just I'm giving food. So maybe these chicken are anyways unnecessarily they are living in this world. Let them kill them and feed the poor people. उनका क्या उपयोग है चिकन का वैसे भी दुनिया में? अभी तो अलार्म क्लॉक है, तो वो जो चिकन है उसका भी कुछ फायदा नहीं है, क्योंकि क्या है वो अलार्म क्लॉक है तो उसका कुछ काम नहीं है. वो पहले तो उठाते थे सुबह सुबह लोगों को, अभी ये क्या है उसका यूजलेस है तो उसको मार के दे दो. So you told, but no, it's not like that. You are killing and you are feeding that, they are getting sinful reactions. Now they are getting their belly is getting filled, but their belly is getting filled by sinful means, by which they will have to suffer like anything in the future. Then he understood. Then he said, okay, now I will not. I'll start giving prasadam to people like that. So in this way, there is sometimes no proper knowledge of what is right activity, what is right type of donation also. Sometimes we may give some money to a beggar. Rajeshanku also recounts that there used to be one beggar near his school when he used to go, and every day he would give 10 paisa to him. And then one day Rajeshanku was shocked that that beggar was smoking. And then Rajeshanku told, hey, you are smoking. I give you money for smoking. He said, no. If I gather only 10 rupees, about 10 rupees a day, then only I smoke. And if I gather about 20 rupees, then I drink. Without that, I don't do. My God, Prabhuji said, this is what my money is being used for. I am giving him money, 10 rupees. But then 10 paisa, those days, 10 paisa I'm giving him, but he is using for what? For smoking. So then he said, he stopped giving. He said, this fellow, first of all, you should utilize properly money. So sometimes we may give charity, but it is, so that's why it will come ahead. This will come in around 17th chapter, 18th chapter. Charity in mode of goodness, charity in mode of passion, charity in mode of ignorance. So Prabhupada had a very consistent and very clear and perfect understanding of philanthropy. He said, why only food for poor people? Why not for rich people? Poor people are suffering, rich people are also suffering. They also need prasadam. So food for life means food for all, not only for poor. Food for rich also, food for poor also. For everyone, food should be given. Prasadam should be given. It was meant for everyone. And along with that, you give kirtan also. You give knowledge of Krishna also. So that their eternal position of Krishna consciousness will be realized. So certainly we can appreciate these philanthropic workers to be better than selfish, self-centered people who only enjoy themselves. But at the same time, because what happens in this current world now, most of the people are this second category who simply want to enjoy themselves only. They don't want to do anything for others. So such people appear to be more saintly, because they do at least something for others. So yeah, and that way they are little better than that. But if they don't do with proper knowledge, like this person was feeding chicken to everyone, so they are, it is like a sister who knows that brother has got typhoid, but she is giving him pakoda to eat. She is doing very philanthropic, very compassionate to brother, but her compassion is wrongly directed with wrong knowledge, and also it's not complete. There has to be proper medicine, there has to be proper way, even proper way of curing one's disease, or why he's suffering like this because of past bad karma. So what is the solution? What are you doing to, uh, to free them of that karma? Is that not a philanthropic activity to free people from their karma, which is causing them suffering? So there can be a temporary philanthropy, but there is permanent philanthropy is to free them suffering from suffering altogether. And why there is suffering? Because of their bad karma. So how do you overcome bad karma? Not by just giving some kind of food or this thing. One can overcome their bad karma by devotional service. So we should try to give devotional service also to them. Does this answer your question? The difference between devotional service and philanthropy?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, brother.
Okay. So we'll stop today. Tomorrow we'll meet again. Hari Bol. Jai.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hari Bol.
Thank you, Guruji.
Jai.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna. Hari
Thank
Bol.
you, Guruji.